Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Forrest Gump is a 1994 comedy drama film that was directed by Robert Zemeckis and was written by Eric Roth. The movie stars Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Gary Sinise, Mykelti Williamson, and Sally Field. The storyline follows Forrest Gump, an innocent and kind-hearted Alabama boy who's been dealing with other people's unkindness for nearly all his life. He's grown up with a beautiful girl named Jenny, who's his only friend. But Forrest yearns to learn all about the ways of the world and embarks on a mission to find the true purpose in life. Thrust into downright extraordinary situations, he finds himself present at some of the most pivotal events in the second half of the 20th century, rubbing shoulders with influential historical figures, including the likes of John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, John Lennon, and even a handsome but still unknown Elvis Presley. With his presence alone, he builds his own place in this world, unknowingly changing the flow of things. On July 6, 1994, the film arrived in theaters and became a box office behemoth, with almost $1 billion worldwide in today's dollars. It generated one of the most common catchphrases that you can ever imagine, that being, "Life is like a box of chocolates." The film was adapted from Winston Groom's novel, and after the movie was released, the sales just skyrocketed on the book. When he first published the book in 1986, it sold a modest 30,000 copies in hardback. But by 1995, after the success of the film, it had sold 1.6 million copies in paperback. In 1995, Groom ended up writing a sequel called Gump and Company. And in 1994, the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company cookbook was released with a foreword that was written by Groom himself. The cookbook existed before the restaurant chain came into existence, and they have no affiliation with each other at all. Tom Hanks really thought that the movie was a crapshoot. He admitted that the film could have gone either way in terms of audience acceptance, and whether or not they liked the main character played by himself. He states that it was a really crazy, unique motion picture, without a doubt, and it's a movie in which the great moments that resonate are going to change depending on when you're watching it. Now, there are some big differences between Forrest in the book and Forrest in the movie. In the book, he ends up going into space, smoking weed, working with Raquel Welch, confronting cannibals, and running for the United States Senate, and also playing in a chess tournament. Also in the book, he is described as being 6 foot 6 inches tall and weighing 240 pounds. And this is the reason that Groom, the author, wanted John Goodman to play Forrest in the movie. One of Forrest Gump's very first scenes in the film ended up on the cutting room floor. It was the very first day of shooting, and Jenny and Forrest are walking along a bridge. They're about to go to college and bemoaning the fact that she got into college, but he didn't. They suddenly hear a bunch of noise, and what they see is the Selma Bridge March happening. They felt that the scene was really sweet and probably would have been a pretty good thing to keep in the film, but they also felt that it might be disrespectful. The park bench that Tom Hanks sat on for much of the movie was located in historic Savannah, Georgia. The fiberglass bench has since then been removed and placed in a museum to avoid it being destroyed by bad weather or possibly stolen. The church where the feather falls was about 100 yards down the street from the bench. Now, some of the special effects in it are great. One you really notice is Gary Sinise playing somebody that has his legs amputated from being in Vietnam. Sinise's lower legs were wrapped in a special blue fabric that allowed them to be digitally removed later by industrial light and magic. To strengthen this illusion that Lieutenant Dan is a real amputee, the makers often had Sinise move his legs around and again digitally inserted objects like tables and walls in places where his lower legs would have otherwise hit them. Due to the extreme success of Lieutenant Dan's character, Sinise has formed a foundation for injured war veterans, which raises up to $30 million per year. It also has 12 private jets, which are used to fly these veterans, plus many sick children, to various locations around the world. It's interesting that when Forrest Gump calls to report the Watergate break-in, the security guard answering the phone says, "Security, Frank Wills." He was the actual guard on duty during that night, and he was the person who discovered the break-in on Saturday, June 17th, 1972. That special line, "My name is Forrest Gump, people call me Forrest Gump," was ad-libbed by Tom Hanks while they were filming the scene, and the director Zemeckis liked it so much that he decided to keep it in there. During the ping pong matches that are shown, there's actually no ball involved at all. It was entirely computer generated and animated to meet the actors' paddles. Another small fact of trivia is that Greenbow, Alabama, which is Forrest's hometown, is completely fictional. But Biola Battery, Bubba's hometown, is a real town in Alabama. Now, Robin Wright does an exceptional job in her role as Jenny, but one of the most trying times for her during the entire shoot was when they were shooting the nightclub scene. At the time, she was sick with a cold and was just feeling terrible. Despite all of this, she was still able to perform her own singing during a non-stop 24-hour shoot of that scene, in which she is nearly nude the whole time, except for the guitar covering her front. It's always a good time to go back and watch this fun film from the early 90s. Do yourself a favor and watch it again. You'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.